Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Sermon Just Praise Divine. I'm going to give you a word on tonight and read just the last chapter of Samuel 1, chapter 1. Samuel 1, just the last chapter. And the name of the title going to be Saul Take His Life. And remember yesterday I had put out that he talked to the dead. The dead was Samuel. Now he wanted an order from God of what to do, how to handle the situation. And Samuel had told him, don't even worry about it. God is in the motion. So and Samuel said, you're gonna be with me. You and your son gonna be with me the next day. So this is the next day. So now the Philistines had fought against Israel. The Israelites had fled before them, and many fell dead among Gibeah. So the Philistine, was in high pursuit of Saul, and his sons, and they killed all his sons. All three of his sons were laying up there. So the fighting had grew furious around Saul. So they wanted Saul first, but they got the children first, and then Saul. And when they saw, and when they overtook, there was fighting grew furious around Saul. And when they overtook him, they wounded him very, he was critical in condition, So now Saul see his sons dead, so Saul said to his armor bearer, draw the sword and run me through it. These uncircumcised fellows will come and run me through and abuse me. So that's why he wanted him to do it. He knew they was going to do some kind of damage to his life, but his arm bearer was terrified, and he would not do it. He said no, So Saul took his own sword and he felt on it, So Saul was tall, Saul was tall when he first entered, he was handsome, he was strong, and he was rich, he was powerful, but all of this, was still not enough. For small in God's eyesight. God had a strong character, a much valuable than a good-looking interior. Because he had disobeyed God, and so God had departed from him. So Saul Arabelle had faced a moral decision, that should he carry out a simple order? From a man he was supposed to obey. He knew he should obey his master, the king, but he also knew murder was wrong. Because remember, he said, no, I'm not going to do that. He decided not to kill Saul. So there's a difference between following an order, with which you don't agree, and follow one that you know is wrong. It is never right or ethical to carry out a wrong act, no matter who gives the order, or what the consequences, for disobedience may be, but we have to follow God's law above human command. So this armor bearer, he had a decision to make, Saul was his king. Saul was his king, his master, and everything else. So a lot of time, your master tell you to do something, you'll do it, but why they know, he know Saul was under God. He know that it was not right in God's eyesight, he know it was wrong to just murder somebody. It's a different, you have to go to battle, but actually just kill someone without God's approval, he know it was wrong. So now Saul took his own sword and fell on it. Since his servant did not want to do it, he did it himself. So when the armor bearer had saw that Saul was dead, him too, killed himself. So he died right along with Saul. So they all died. His sons, him, and his servants, they all died the same day. So now remember Samuel had told Saul that him and his sons would be with me the next day. That you all, gonna be together the same day. And we see what Samuel had said, it came to pass. Because Saul and all his sons, they all died the same day, just like Samuel said. You know, Samuel said the next day y'all gonna be with me. You know. So now the Philistine came to strip the body. Now they killed all of them. You know, so now they want to come strip the bodies, strip the dead bodies. You know, and found Saul and his 3 sons. They fallen on Gabriel. You know, and they cut off Saul's head. They cut the heads off. Saul and the sons, and they strip off his armor. You know, remember he had that armor on. You remember when David was going to fight, he wanted to put all that stuff on, and David could not have all that on. But Saul always had that armor on. He always was scrapped for war. You know, so they took that off and put that in the Philistine temple. You know, and they sent messengers throughout the land, you know, of the Philistine to proclaim the news in the temple, that what they have in the temple is for Saul. You know, so the Philistine cut the head off of Saul and his son, then sent the messenger out to proclaim the news. So they put his armor in a temple, I guess for a souvenir, and they fastened the body, you know, to the wall. You know, to put Saul's armor in the Philistine temple, give credit to the pagan goddess for victory over Saul. You know, so when the people of Jezreel, you know, heard what the Philistine had done to Saul, all the Benjamin men had took the bodies down, you know, took the Saul and the sons, took their body down off the wall, and they burned it. They buried it, you know, and they put it under a terebinth tree. I talk about that way in the early time of Abraham. Remember, Abraham had to make the tree legal. Remember, he was in Canaanite. When God saw him from his town and took him over to Canaanite, you know, God said they're going to be for him. So he started getting stuff legal. And this is that special tree, you know, and they fasted for 7 days. You know, so now David still don't know. David still don't know that Saul and his sons is dead. You know, even though Saul kept on wanting to kill him and hunting him down, he still loved it and respected Saul. You know, so the men of Jezreel now, this is horrible. This is horrible to hear. You know what had happened to the bodies, you know, of Saul and his sons. You know, so Saul's armor is put in the temple of the Philistine goddess dungeon. You know, so Saul's head, you know, is hung in a temple of the god of dungeon. You know, their god is the idol god, you know, all the evil stuff. You know, so the Philistine fastened Saul's body and the body of his son to the wall of the village. You know, and the Israelites, they retrieved the body. You know, they came that night, took the body down, you know, they burnt it and they buried, you know, probably to keep them from harming his body, do any more harm to his body, you know. So they buried to keep them, you know, because they kept on trying to find something what they're going to do with the body. They cut their head off, you know, then decide to take the body and put up. So the Israelite came, they took the body, burnt it and buried, so they won't fool with it no more, you know. So the burning and the burying of the last act of service to their king. So this was the last time they served their king Saul. Remember, Saul was still the king, and they showed respect to Saul. So this was the last respect. They took their king body, burnt it and buried. That was only to keep them from keep on abusing their bodies. You know, so now we see that Saul and his sons, they died the same day, just like Samuel said. You know, so God had delivered Saul and his sons into the Philistine hand. You know, so Saul saw his sons dead, and he felt like he couldn't live no more. You know, to see all 3 of your sons laying up there. You know, so he wanted to take his own life. You know, but he told his army baron, he said, take your sword and put it in me. You know, and so, you know, his servants were like, no. You know, I'm not going to do that. He was just so terrified, you know, because he's looking at his son's 3 bodies down there, you know, and then now my master telling me to do him in, you know, so he was like, no. So he saw Saul did it to himself, so then he turned around and killed himself also, you know, so it was so evil what the Philistine had did to their bodies. You know, the Philistine cut their head off, you know, hung it up, you know. But the Israelite came that night to show respect to Saul, who was still their king. You know, took it down, burnt it, and buried it. You know, that was the last time they served, show respect for their master king Saul. You know, so David still don't know. You know, Saul departed. You know, but David is about to step forward. You know, and so you know, this been like 20 years, going back and forward, running to cage to cage. You know, this is the story I'm always talking about David. Now we done got the whole story of David. What's David about to start his life, you know, but I talk about all the time, you know, how David got anointed when he was a child, a young boy, you know, and being under Saul. Saul been jealous of him the whole time, running behind him, hunting him down, always want to kill him. And so David called himself running from Saul half of his life. You know? And so when Saul messed his own self up, he was disobedient to God. God told him to take out the whole land. He gonna save the king and his people. And talking about when I got the king, that's not what God had told him to do. You know, he would have been king a little longer. You know, lucky he still was a king when God had departed his spirit from him and put it to David. You know, God allowed him to be a king for a long time. You know, so this is the story of Saul. And David right now still don't know. Because you know, David loved Jonathan. They made a covenant together. You know, so down the line, you know, David think everybody, you know, is dating Saul family. Not knowing that Jonathan's son still gonna be alive, you know, and we're gonna get to that story too, you know. So this is the story of David. You know, a lot of times he was running from them caves. He was right. He was writing them songs down, you know, writing them songs down, and he still recuperating all them wives. He still was working for God. God said, "I need you to go get," you know. So he was still working. He was still collecting wives. You know, this is his story. He put all his heart and pain into these songs. You know, a lot of these songs that he wrote. You know, so now, all the running that he was doing with Saul, you know, all that can come to end. Remember two packets ago, I had put out, David did have praise to God to deliver him from Saul. You know, because David had got tired. He got burnt out from keep on running from Saul. And then Saul keep on saying, "I'm not going to harm you." And then he turned around and get jealous and do it again. You know, so David did pray. You know, a lot of times, you know, you can pray. David prayed, you know, for you deliver me from Saul, my enemy. Because he was his enemy, you know, and he respected Saul. You know, he respected God. You know, because he refused to harm Saul, because he could have been killed Saul a long time ago. You know, so he got tired of running. He got tired of Saul keep on want to kill him, change his mind, and then do it again. He prayed to God, "Please deliver me from Saul," and God did. You know, so Saul did call David about to step forward. You know, so we're going to pretty much be talking about the story of David. And David was so nice and sweet and a spiritual leader, but then watch what he gonna do. You know, he gonna be a little terrible too. You know, but then his son gonna come along. You know, and so he ain't gonna be able to build a temple. His son gonna be allowed to build the temple. So that's all the word I have for you tonight. That Saul was running behind David about 20 years. You know, and now it came to an end for David to start his life and pursue and start walking into his praise. You know, so y'all have a blessed and safe night, and I see y'all on the